Oh, look, you came back. So let's take a look at some autosomal recessive pedigrees. So the first thing you need to note is that there's some things worth remembering, and if not, then I guess you could just do a bunch of problem solving. But notes worth mentioning. First of all, affected individuals when they are autosomal recessive is homozygous recessive. Okay, all of these shaded in ones here, okay, those are going to be, so it could be the male or female, as long as they're shaded in, they are affected. And if they are unshaded, that means they are unaffected. Okay, so now because, I wish I would have done that in a different color here. Let's do that in this blue here. So if they are affected, then that means they're going to be little a, right? Because it's autosomal recessive. And if they're unaffected, that means they're going to be big A underscore. And what I mean by underscore is they could be big A, or they could be big A, little a. This underscore means it could be little or big, right? Okay, you get the idea. You're smart. So then, some other things is when you look at the pedigree here, you'll notice that sometimes, not always, but sometimes you can skip generations. So the affected individuals can come out of two parents that are unaffected. So um, unaffected parents with an affected child must be heterozygous. So for example, right here, we have this right here. So they're unaffected. So they have big A. Okay, I'm not sure what the second one is. Well, actually, I do know. And this one's big A. And then all of a sudden they have this child and this child, which are affected. So that would be little a, and little a, little a. So we know that this mother here has to be big A, little a. And we know that this father needs to have a little a. Otherwise, how did this offspring have two little a's? So unaffected parents who have an affected child, so unaffected parents who have an affected child must be heterozygous, big A, little a. Okay, you can skip generations. So if we look right here, there's an individual that has it, they're affected, and then all of a sudden, all of these are unaffected, but then this unaffected can give rise to an affected. So that's essentially this note here. So then you can have two unaffected that all of a sudden, bloop, where the heck did that come from? Oh, it came from grandpa, right? Grandpa gave it to you. And this one here must have been a carrier. So probably got it from, I don't know, grandma or grandpa. Let's blame grandpa on this side. Anyway, two affected parents, if you have two affected parents, they must always have affected offspring. So we don't have that in this example, but let's take a look over here. We still don't have that as an example. Let's take a look over here. We still don't have that as an example. So let's create it, okay? If we had two parents, so for example, well, this is embarrassing. Let's say this young lady here, okay, this young lady met somebody, the love of her life. Why is my line not working? There you go. And there he is, right there. All right, let's color him in. There. Where does he come from? I don't know. Who knows? Somewhere from up there. He just came out of nowhere. He's like the prince in shining armor. And if they were to have kids, every single, it doesn't matter how many kids they have. Okay, let's say they have just a giant amount of kids, okay? Let's say they have that many kids. Guess what? Well, all they have is little a, and he's got little a, because all the shaded in are little a, which means every single one of their children, that one there, it's going to be, let's say they get lucky, and that way I don't have to like draw a bunch of things for you. Okay, bam. Affected, guess what this one's going to be? Affected, guess what this one's going to be? Affected, guess what this one's going to be? Affected. Every single one of them are going to be little a. They all get a little a from mom, right? Because that's all mom has to give, and dad only has little a's, so it's going to be little a, little a, little a, little a, little a. All right. So with autosomal recessive, the first thing I usually do is I throw down all these little a's, depending on what the question's saying, of course.